friends. This is Margaret.
And this is Colleen.
And
we're the Thecousinsweird.
And we're trending.
Terrible trending.
And this trend isn't terrible so much as it is silly. It's a very silly trend, and when I read about it, it made me giggle, and I'm like, I have to share this because it's really fun.
I like silly trends. It's not going to gross me out.
It's not.
I'm not going to vomit from
really,
it.
Really
I'm all for it.
It's very foolish, and it made me, like, giggle. And
I'm all for that.
It's fun.
Sounds great.
We'll jump right in.
Let's jump in. Let's do this.
We're talking moonshiners today. And we're going to Prohibition.
I love it.
And for those of you who didn't know, Prohibition was the 18th Amendment, was passed in 1919, and it declared that the production, transport, and sale of intoxicating liquors was illegal.
So sad.
So you could ingest it, eating it wasn't illegal, but transporting it, selling it, and producing it was.
And that's kind of what, when they've said pot was legalized in New York State, it started that way. As you could ingest it, you could have it, but you couldn't sell it or transport it.
Or buy it.
Or buy it.
Right. So is the same thing. So this was the opposite. This is when Prohibition, right?
Yeah.
It did not outlaw the consumption of alcohol, but religious use of wine was allowed.
Right.
And that's why the Catholics didn't throw up as much of a stink, because they were for the ones that were fighting it. Because this is a Protestant thing here.
Right.
You know. Following this amendment, the Volstead Act was passed, which allowed the federal enforcement of prohibition.
Okay.
So, like, the amendment passed, we're like, well, how are we going to enforce this? And then the Volstead Act passed, and that made it so that the federal enforcement of this could happen. So,
okay.
Like, it was, like, what do they call them? Like, almost like the tax people, but they were the booze people. Could go around and investigate. And
like,
find people.
The IRS?
Basically,
but they were like
booze.
the booze are us.
Right. The booze are us. Yeah.
The booze are us.
Prohibition officially began on January 17th of 1920. This is a year after the amendment was passed. This was something, not quite a year, it was the next year anyway. This is something pushed by Protestants. We're talking the American Temperance Society, the Women's Christian Temperance Union, and the Anti-Saloon League.
I hate all of them.
I hate all of them too. They all sound...
Bunch of bitches.
Yeah. Terrible, stuffy, bitchy women who weren't getting any.
And if they were here today, they'd probably have a Karen cut.
And they'd have pearls they could clutch.
Clutching those pearls.
You gotta know they gotta clutch the pearls. Yeah, gotta clutch them pearls. They thought that society's problems, like family violence, political corruption, saloon-based political corruption,
of course,
and alcoholism. Obviously, alcoholism is due to alcohol.
Yeah.
But family violence, it was all caused by the consumption of alcohol. You take alcohol out of the picture, and everybody's life is going to get better.
Now, do I think that alcohol can cause people to become violent? I think it can.
It can.
Do I think it's the only reason? No, I do not.
I agree.
I think that you have to have that in you to begin with.
Right.
Right? Like,
well, there's
some people shouldn't have alcohol.
No.
Some people, they can handle alcohol. But you know what doesn't make people fight? Weed. No one's fighting on weed. It does not cause violence.
It gets you mellow, and you just want to hang out
and get along.
That's
all you do, because you don't get the energy to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, hey.
But some people, like, I'm a happy drunk, personally. I get real goofy.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Not everyone's that way. But it's not the answer to all the problems.
It really isn't, no. But, I mean, and honestly, did you know that there were 2 states? At this point, America had 48 states.
Okay.
Right? 2 states did not rectify the 18th Amendment. Can you guess which states they were?
Didn't rectify it.
So there were two states that did not prohibit the sale and distribution of alcohol.
Okay. Vermont.
Close.
New Hampshire.
Close. Both New England states. Connecticut.
Okay.
And Rhode Island.
Okay.
Which touch each other. They're kissing states. But I was like, oh.
Interesting.
Connecticut. It's not but Connecticut's very democratic. But I mean, honestly, this American Temperance Society, it was Democratic and Republican. It crossed, like...
It was bipartisan?
It was bipartisan, like this thing. And I mean, it passed, like, 68 in the House and then 78 in the Senate. I mean, so this was, like...
Right.
It passed by majority in both.
Both.
In 1933... Our buddy FDR, he was the one that said he was going to repeal the 18th Amendment, and he did. And in the 21st Amendment, in 1932 was when he was elected, and he said that he was going to pass legislation to repeal the 18th Amendment because Americans did not like they couldn't get booze.
Right.
You know, this was a minority people got this passed. And it was like they worked tirelessly to pass the 18th Amendment. It was like their goal for 100 years. You know what I mean? That's like their main goal in life was to prohibit alcohol, right?
Man,
and
you got problems if you're focused that hard on one thing.
But the thing is when they did see a decrease in cirrhosis and alcohol-related deaths when Prohibition, but they also saw an increase in crime. Like organized crime. That's when organized crime really started in America, was during Prohibition.
Right.
This is when these crime syndicates, like, popped up, you know?
Because they had to get it out there somehow. They had to get...
And that's what started it all, was Prohibition. So, like, we can thank all of those asshole Christian mamas out there who were mad that people were getting drunk and having fun.
I don't... Maybe I choose not to... I might think alcohol's bad, but I'm not going to tell someone else they can't have it.
Exactly.
And it's not my place to tell you can't have it.
Right. But I mean, you could go, like, into drugs itself. Like, it's the same.
Exactly. And I always said that everything should just be legal.
And it's like, people are okay drinking alcohol, but they're going to say, oh, blah, 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 and pot and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, pot is more natural than alcohol. You can just pick it and smoke it. Where alcohol, you have to ferment it. You have to work to make alcohol.
And, you know, if you ingest marijuana not smoking it has really no bad effects on your body.
Right. It doesn't, the THC needs heat to come out. So if you just, like, make tea from it, you're not going to get any THC. It's just going to have, like, a mellowing effect, I think.
Just the smoking can affect your lungs.
Right.
But smoking has been something that has been, like, sacred. Indigenous people, like, smoking was part of their sacred...
Their ceremonial
things. So smoke in general is actually... Well, anyway, I don't... Why am I... We did the Abenaki, okay?
Yeah, we just got off of that one, so Connie's got it on our brains, right? So, from 1919 to 1933, bootlegging or rum running became a way to get illegal alcohol, or you get it from moonshiners. And moonshining was real big in the U.S. then. And we're talking, like, this is rural areas.
Right.
I mean, it was mostly rural areas dictating that the urban areas couldn't have alcohol. Because the people in the urban areas, they wanted the big city was where all the alcohol was. Yeah. But it's not true. I mean, it was all over. Everybody drank. You know, it was all over the place.
It was like almost like a social thing in the cities.
Right.
More than it was maybe in rural.
Speakeasies open. So, I mean, alcohol was still there. People were still drinking. It was just done more in secret. Secrecy, you know.
And it probably caused more violence in that way because people would literally die over it.
Right. And I mean, there was like living in New York State, there's a lot of bootlegging done between Canada and the United States over the St. Lawrence River.
Right.
I mean, so that was a big, like, we bootlegged a lot from Canada at night with the rowboats across the St. Lawrence River.
Fun.
And that's where a lot of the alcohol came from. And people that built stills in the middle of the forest or in the middle of the woods, we're talking like backwoods moonshining, even in Florida, anywhere, was like a big thing. But because it was done in such rural areas, law enforcement had trouble finding these. They knew it was happening, like how are we going to find them? They had to do a lot of it on foot. So they're looking in the woods for, like, why is there all these footprints and trails and stuff going in and out of this woods? That's suspicious. Let's go follow these footprints. So, in order to throw the feds off of their trails, some clever moonshiners thought to disguise their footprints. And so, logically, if they left animal prints in the woods or meadows, that wouldn't be suspicious. So they invented heifer heels.
That's what my shoes are called.
I saw that. I almost died. I'm like, oh my God, I found my next trend. 100%. I don't even know how I came across it. I'm like, freaking heifer heels. It might have been on Facebook or something.
Margaret.
I'm like, what?
I'm calling my shoes that from now on. Where are my heifer heels?
Where's my heifer heels? This was, they took like a strip of metal, and there was two ways to do it. You could actually use hooves that they took off a cow, and a cow's actual hooves, but most of them took a wooden block and carved it to look like two horse hooves. Okay. And they would affix it to this metal thing and strap it to the bottom of their shoes. So they're walking around on, like, platform cow feet. Walking around in the woods.
I love it.
Doop, 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 doop. So, like,
I wouldn't break my ankle, but good for you.
I shared pictures,
Oh, good.
and they're fabulous. It's like roller skates, but without wheels, with cow feet.
Can you imagine how many of them rolled their ankle? Yeah, you're rolling your ankle on those left
These are
and
the
right.
carved ones.
I love it.
It's so much
Fantastic.
fun. You'll have to go on our Facebook or Instagram to see pictures of the heifer heels.
Fantastic.
They're fabulous. I don't
We
want
should bring them back, Margaret.
I need help breaking into
I know.
my ankle. I was wearing my heifer heels.
That's what I'm calling my shoes from now on.
Because of my heifer heels. Oh, I love it. Oh, I knew we needed a good laugh.
I'm gonna call it.
It's awesome.
All my shoes heifer heels.
Yeah, so they strapped them on their shoes, and then they're out doing their dirty deeds. Dirty deeds.
On dirt cheap.
In the woods, leaving cow prints around. You see these, and I think it looks like a fake foot, but I guess if you're not looking close enough.
If you're not looking close enough, you wouldn't. If you were looking for human shoe prints and you just glanced at that, you wouldn't think anything of it.
And if there's more than one guy walking around, you're going to
be a
see
bunch
multiple
of them. Yeah,
tracks. There's just going to be a bunch of cows walk through there.
Yeah,
which is pretty smart.
It is. Very
This
smart.
idea was said to come from a Sherlock Holmes novel by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, called "The Adventure of Priory School."
Oh.
And in this, the murderer escaped on a horse, and the horse was wearing shoes that looked like cow feet. So they thought it was a cow, not a horse.
Yeah.
So that's
where the idea came from.
I mean, law enforcement eventually caught on to this when, in 1922, a Florida paper, it's always a Florida paper,
man,
printed that some of these shoes were found at an illegal still by the authorities. Found them. They raided a still, and they found some of these little contraptions. Like, what the hell are these? Oh my god, these go on your shoes. It makes it look like you're as a cow.
Genius.
Yeah.
They had to do little rabbit feet. Then move on to rabbit. Like, you just change up the animal. Just keep changing it up. Squirrel. Little squirrel.
How much fun was that? That's a big bunny. Making big footprints.
Well, you'd have to have several bunny prints on one shoe.
Make it look like the front and the back feet.
Yeah.
So like two bunnies hopping.
We can do this. I could become a really good
bootlegger.
That's
not as much of a thing now.
There's that show, Moonshiners. They still out there doing that. It's like it's a cultural thing, though.
They need to make heifer heels.
They might have them, and they cover it up and they camouflage their stills in the woods. And I'm like, but I really feel it's like a cultural thing. Like, it's something passed down generation to generation, and let people do it. Jesus, who cares?
It's fun. We could go
grow
blind.
your weed. Make your
moonshine, if it's made incorrectly, can make it go blind.
Well, you know what? That's a chance you take. You're
it's
adult.
Too high proof.
You don't give it to a kid, but if you're adult and you choose to drink it, that's your own.
It's your own problem. Moonshine is rough.
Moonshine can make you, it can make you go blind for a little bit, or you can just never get it back.
I know. I think it can make you hallucinate too if it's too strong.
If you eat the fruit at the bottom, forget that. I never would do that. I can't. The thought of that makes me spinny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my story about heifer heels.
I love it.
Yeah.
Richard, where my heifer heels at? Go fetch me my heifer heels.
Yeah, so then when they repeat, obviously, and then they made this huge article in the newspaper about the heifer, the cow shoes they were found, the heifer heels. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was fun.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that you better make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram so you can see the shoes because they're hysterical. And it's genius. I think that's smart.
It is genius.
I'm like, yeah.
You do not stand between a man and his stuff.
No, you do not.
You don't. Mm-mm. These men need their moonshine. And
you think about the time you're in, right? Like, when it happened and people were working themselves to death. We don't have a lot of entertainment, especially people that don't have a lot of money. What do they have? But they're just go home and have a drink when they're done with working in wherever they're working all day long, or in a farmers or whatever it is. Like, the one thing you had was alcohol.
One joy at the end.
One joy in your life, and that what you should. Your life shouldn't be revolving around that. However, if you have nothing else, don't stand in the way of a man and his drink if he needs it. I just feel like we are so fortunate now that, thanks a lot, Henry Ford, for making us all have to work a 40-hour freaking work week.
Asshole.
But that's why I love Bernie Sanders, who's like going after the 32.5-hour work week without less pay, which I'm like, yes, thank you very much, please. I really think that people should work until their job's done, and then that's all you got to work, as long as you get your job done.
Right.
Right? You have a quota, you meet your quota, you don't have to be there for 40 hours, as long as you get your quota done. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with this. Oh, we're fortunate we live in a time where we have other things. People are more and more prioritizing mental wellness and physical wellness over working yourself to death, because it used to be that's really just all you could. And it was even in the 80s, you think about it, it was like the standard of success was that you worked 70 hours a week and
got paid for 40.
Yeah, like that's not what successful life is. Having a balance in your life and enjoying yourself and having time with the people you love.
I feel like, oh, you could be salaried. Salaried is not a good thing.
You end up working more.
You end up working way more than what you're getting paid.
Well, you're working off the clock and you're getting paid. The only good thing about being salaried...
The premise of it is, like, salaried people the premise
you'd never be able to pay them
getting
enough.
Paid more than you would be getting paid. If you're on salary, your salary is higher than what you would get hourly. But that's never the case.
No, because they could never afford to pay the overtime they'd be giving you if you weren't. However, the one good thing about being salary, because I am technically, is that you don't have to like take as much time. Like if you have an appointment in the middle of the day, because you work whatever, you can leave to go to your appointment and not have to take sick time for it or whatever. That's the only bonus to having a salary.
Yeah, but most people who are salaried still have sick days.
You have sick days if you take the whole day, but if you only take a few hours, you don't have to use it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's probably because of where you work, though, because I think some of the
I think legally that's how you have to, how it is. But, I mean, I don't really know the laws of labor laws that well, so. Make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram. You know, I could just keep going on tangents here. So you can see the pictures of Heifer Heels.
They're fun.
And
you can't even say it without smiling.
I know.
It's one of those things you're like, yeah.
Once you go there and you like us, you should hit the little review. Leave us a little review on there.
Please.
We love it when you do that. And when you're listening to us on your platform of choice, rate us on that too, because that pushes us out there to other people.
Yep, like us and rate us. We appreciate every little bit you can do for us. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can send us a direct message through Facebook or Instagram when you're looking at our pictures. You know,
while you're there.
If you'd like to send us a message, please do. Comment on our post, share our post. That helps us. If you'd like to send us an email, you can send it to thecousinsweird@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a suggestion for a topic for us to cover, feel free to share that. Or even if you just have a weird story, a haunted story, a weird ghost thing happened to you, any kind of weird encounters, please let us know. We would love for you to share that with us, and we'd love to share it on the pod. So if you'd like to be part of a future episode, reach out to us. You can either share your story with us that way, and we can read it, or you can be on the pod with us as a guest, or through Skype, or in person. So that would
be really fun. And we always want to hear your feedback. Even if you're like, that was the dumbest episode I ever heard, we don't care. We just want to hear from you. What do you think? Did you like the episode? What was your favorite part? What did you find funny? What did you find interesting? What did you think was stupid? You just let us know.
Do you want us to hear more about a specific type of... Are we not covering certain things that you want more historical things? Or do you want more haunted things? Or more cursed objects? Or just let us know.
Give us a direction.
Give us some feedback.
We
like the feedback.
If you want to support us, the best way to do it is always word of mouth and letting your friends know and sharing us on the socials. But you also could help us keep the lights on with patreon.com/thecousinsweird. We have steel for $1 a month. $1 a month?
$1.
$1.
That's $12 a year.
Yeah, we just want to snag that deal.
You get a cool sticker.
You get a sticker and you get bonus content. And then for $5 a month, you become a terrible trender and you get free sticker, bonus content, yearly gift, ad-free episodes, and an occasional Skype or meetup from us.
Okay.
I think that's it.
All right, stay freaky.
Bye.